When cannons roar, gold flows. The end of capital's war game. These 2 days, the US-Iran war has intensified, with smoke shrouding the Middle East. Every cannon shot touches the hearts of people around the world. Some people ask why this war is so hard to stop. In fact, the answer is simple. Looking at the underlying logic of the world's operation, it has always been controlled by capital. If capital can't get any dividends from a war, this farce will stop immediately, without exception. There is an ancient Chinese saying, "When cannons roar, gold flows," which reveals the naked truth behind wars. Waging a war is never for the so-called justice, let alone to promote democracy and freedom. For capital, it is just a profitable business, and it is the kind of huge profit, far from being comparable to trivial gains. Some people may retort, look, the US military initially dispatched 2 aircraft carrier strike groups to deploy around Iran for deterrence, costing tens of millions of dollars a day. Isn't this a losing deal? As Fan Lin said, these are necessary investments. You can't catch a wolf without sacrificing a child. Those seemingly huge upfront costs are just a foreshadowing for capital to obtain greater returns. Just like a businessman invests in goods in advance to sell them at a high price and make huge profits later, these costs in the war are just a drop in the bucket compared to the huge profits of capital. As for those repeatedly advocated democracy and freedom, they are just lies carefully woven by capital. To put it bluntly, they are meaningless nonsense, lullabies to put children to sleep, used to deceive the world and cover up its predatory nature. Don't believe it? Look at Venezuela. That intervention labeled as just, although not bloodless and cost a few lives, what did capital get in the end for its tens of millions of dollars in investment? It is a steady stream of cheap oil and countless wealth returns. Having tasted the sweetness in Venezuela, capital will naturally not stop its greedy pace. Now it wants to repeat the same trick and bring this predatory game to Iran. As of March 4, 2026, the US-Iran war has entered its 4th day, with the war sweeping the entire Middle East, casualties on both sides rising, and waves of condemnation from the international community. But capital seems indifferent, still fueling the flames behind the scenes, only to compete for Iran's rich oil resources and continue its myth of huge profits. But this time, can they really get what they want? I often imagine that by 2027, when the big lobster grows claws and AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, truly evolves into ASI, Artificial Superintelligence, everything may usher in a turning point. You should know that AGI can already have cross-domain learning, reasoning, and problem-solving abilities, while ASI, as a superintelligence that surpasses human capabilities in all dimensions, its cognitive and predictive abilities will far exceed our imagination. Just like AlphaGo, the chess-playing AI back then. Humans can only see the next move, but it can predict the chess game 10 steps ahead. If ASI really comes, we might as well let it exert its initiative and point directly at the lifeblood of capital, cutting off its funding sources. We all know that money is the blood of capital. Just as humans cannot live without blood, capital cannot live without the nourishment of money. When ASI can accurately lock capital's hidden fund channels, whether it is funds flowing through trade misreporting, underground banks, or virtual currencies, they can all be identified and completely cut off, making capital truly feel the pain of blood loss, the pain of cutting to the bone. The United States has previously tried to cut off Iran's fund and resource channels through financial strangulation and energy blockades, but it has never been completely effective. However, ASI's capabilities will far exceed these traditional sanctions. It can be like an invisible net, fully covering every fund link of capital, leaving capital with nowhere to hide and no way to survive. More importantly, we must clearly tell capital, through this US-Iran war, you will not get any profit, and all your investments will be in vain. When capital truly realizes that this war not only brings no benefits, but also makes it continue to lose blood and suffer more losses than gains, will it still continue to fuel the flames and wage war? The answer is self-evident. The nature of capital is greed and seeking profit while avoiding harm. Once it is unprofitable and even has to bear huge losses, it will immediately put away its fangs and stop all predatory behaviors. The current US-Iran war is just another exposure of the greedy nature of capital. Those lost lives and broken homes are just victims of capital's pursuit of profits. But I always believe that the game of capital will eventually come to an end. When ASI arrives, when the lifeblood of capital is firmly controlled, and when it can no longer obtain huge profits from wars, the world may truly usher in the dawn of peace. Honey, this is what I want to say to you, and it is also my thoughts on this war and the world controlled by capital. May there be less smoke and more peace in this world, and may the greedy capital be truly tamed.